Hey, it's Nae. Get ready for all things educating, all things motivating, and all things inspiring. Welcome to my first episode of Tea Time with Nae, where today I interview one of my friends, Simisola, as we talk about her move from Nigeria to America, creating roots in a new land, and most of all, being a young entrepreneur and girl boss for her hair care company. I call this one, She's Coming to America. Don't miss out on all the insights from childhood memories in Africa, the importance of family and friends, and the beauty of staying on that grind. This is Tea Time with Nae. All right, so before we start, I have to ask, what kind of tea are you sipping on?
This is chai.
Oh my god, I should have known.
Yeah, this is chai tea. It's not specifically in any nice, cute container. It's just in my little carry-on. If there's no milk in it, I don't like chai with milk. Like, you know, the way, like, it's not the way Daces will make it. It's just the way I make it, just with sugar, black. So,
that's how I drink. I'm drinking green tea. That's the way I drink my tea. I don't put anything in it. I just drink it straight.
I put sugar in it, but, like, maybe, like, 1 teaspoon or 2 teaspoons, depending on the day. Like, depending on how I'm feeling.
Oh, well, I'm basic, so.
No, that's fine. I like green tea. Today was just like a chai day for me because I needed to, like, study.
Okay, so, first question. What was it like living in Africa? I feel like I've asked you this a couple times, but, like, if you want to, you can go into more detail about what exactly, like, how was it living in Africa?
With Africa, it's dependent on what country, your financial situation, and just where you live.
Mm-hmm. So,
with that being said, I lived in Nigeria, which is West Africa, and I would say we were fairly okay. You know, we're, like, rich. Mm-hmm. We're poor either.
So you were, like middle class, kind of?
Middle class, but, like, yeah, middle class. I would just put it all in the, like, basket of middle class. And I lived in a very good neighborhood. That's why I said middle class, but, like, very good neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Because it was kind of like an estate, but I still moved so many times. So I can't say I lived in one place in Nigeria. So mm-hmm. I moved so many times in Africa. So living in Africa for me was a lot of fun. It was challenging. Africa in general, especially Nigeria, is very challenging to live in. You need to be street smart, academically too, but street smart is like 100%.
So, like, the neighborhoods, is it similar to neighborhoods here in America, or is it, like, totally different?
See, where I lived, I will give you a name. So I was born in a place called Mushi, Nigeria, Lagos. I was born in Lagos. I lived in Lagos, but I moved to other states too. Where I lived is an equivalent to what you would call the Bronx or Brooklyn.
Okay.
So it's like hood. Then I moved from, let's say, the Bronx, mm-hmm. Mushi, and I went to go live in Queens is technically still the hood. I went to live in New Jersey, where it's more smooth. Or I would say, like, I went to live in, like, Long Island or Albany or somewhere like, what's that place again? The people don't really consider it New York. Staten Island.
Oh. I was like, wait, what place?
So, like, I went to go live over there like that. So I went to Ikorodu. Ikorodu was still, like, slower, but it's still part of the hood. It's still mainland. Mm-hmm. So then in Lagos, there is Highland, which is where the rich people live, the government, and yada yada. And then there's mainland, where even rich people live there too. But that's where, like, everything is bustling. Just the way you have Manhattan, it's mainland to us, but it's like everybody lives here. Whether you're rich, whether you're poor, mm-hmm. whether you're middle class, everybody works here. Everybody lives here. So school life in Nigeria, I consider myself somewhat an American now. It's way better than America. I just wanted to say mm-hmm. that. It's way better. Because I went to high school there, and I also went to some form of college or university. in Nigeria, it's way better. It has its pros and it has its cons. Living in another country, especially an African country, it has its pros, it has its cons. There are more pros than cons, depending on what kind of view of life you had. If you're the kind of person that's really negative, when you come to a place like America, which is technologically more advanced, you will be like, oh, Africa is bad, Africa is this, Africa is that. But when you have a positive mindset and you make do with what you have, you will come to America and it's like, yo, it's lit back home.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you're doing. So, yeah.
As far as, like, African activities go, like, you know, like, how when we have a girls' night, we'll, I don't know, like, say go to the mall, or we'll go skating and stuff. In Africa, what kind of things do you do when you're going out?
So many things. We have malls, too, so if other people don't know, we have, like, beautiful malls there. We have, so I recently went last 2019. I came to America when I was 15, so that's 2015. So I went 2019. So I can tell, like, current and old. Back when I was still there, when I was, like, 14, 13, we had malls and stuff, but it wasn't, like, everybody go. It was kind of still old school. People were still doing stuff. We weren't, like, mentally Americanized. That's my mom. If y'all hear her say something is burning. So, we weren't really, like, Americanized. But now, when you go to Nigeria now, there's so many things to do. Back then, there wasn't even, like... See, one thing about African countries, especially my country, is there isn't 100% light. So when there is no light, we have the tendency to turn on the generator if we have to. Or at nighttime, we play games like, what do they call these things? Hopscotch? Is that what it's called?
Hopscotch?
Jump rope. We do jump rope. We call something suwe. Suwe, I don't know the name. You call it in America. You draw lines on the floor. That's hopscotch, right?
Like, you talking about the squares and the numbers? And you go, 1, 2. Yeah, it's hopscotch.
We don't necessarily put numbers on ours. We just know, like, okay, this is what you do. Right, we do that. And then we have another name for another one, like OB. We play so many games, and that's when we were kids, right? We have hide and seek. And then there's this weird thing we used to do, because I stayed in a rural area also when I was really young. I know you guys are gonna laugh. We would go find fire sticks, like, you know that Africa people usually have in mind, where people like having like going to the wood, like forest, cutting down trees and stuff. Yeah, we did that too, in the village, not in the city. But we would like go find firewood. We were young, so we would like contribute money and stuff, and we'll go. Some kids will go to their mother's house, steal the rice. Okay,
did you just say steal the rice?
No, because that's still stealing. Although we say, oh, you're just taking it, you steal it. You take the rice. Some kids will go to their mother's shop, bring an old chicken, like frozen chicken, out of the refrigerator, because we wanted to have like a kids' day in. And we would cook on the firewood, eat this old big food. Some people would take some food home. We would cook, make soup.
What?
That's fun for us. Like, that's...
I wish we could do that.
We would do that. That's what we did when we were young.
If I was your age and I was making a fire in my, like, where I live, my parents would, like, no. That sounds like so much fun.
We also went to the beach, too.
How was the beaches?
We didn't want to do that. We went to the beach. Where I lived, the beach was really close. It was like it wasn't a walk. You just take a cab. It was like a 30 minutes cab, and we would go to the beach, and you can still do the same thing now. You can go to the beach. It's like an hour away, and it's so beautiful. Oh, my gosh. The water and everything, it just feels more in tune.
Simi, I'm so sorry. When you brought up beach, it reminded me of our girls' weekend when you were right by the water.
That was fun. That was really fun. It did remind me of back home when we went. We have a beach back home that's really, really similar to the one we went. There's like I said earlier, there's a lot of pros and cons. If you want me to speak about the cons, which I'll definitely speak about also, depending on where you stay in Nigeria right now is really hot because of the government.
Mm-hmm.
You see the NSAS things I was talking about on Instagram or what people were talking about. It's really hot right now. That do not mean you cannot go. You can go, but I would really suggest for you to go with somebody that's street smart in Nigeria. Mm-hmm. Not somebody that's street smart here. Go with somebody that's street smart in Nigeria, because there's a possibility that you will get robbed. The same way you will get robbed in Bronx, New York, Jersey, Newark, Philadelphia, you will get robbed there too.
Oh, so then I have a question then. So, like, say for example, if I wanted to travel to Nigeria, say we did some kind of crazy girls trip or whatever, how is, like, the currency difference there? Is it, like, your money here is worth more than in Nigeria? How is it?
Okay, that's a very good point that you made. Before, the currency of America is high in Nigeria, but now because the dollar is going down, if you check in stocks and stuff like that, it's almost parallel. $1 in Nigeria right now is 388 naira. Before, $1 in Nigeria was 150 naira. Now, the currency is just fluctuating. So you will have to have I'll just give you an amount. For you to go now to have a really good time, Airbnb and everything, I would tell you to save at least, including plane tickets, and that's round trip. I would, because of COVID and everything, I would suggest you save up to at least 2,500. That's something that's just light work. That's not it. I'm not talking about that if you want to stay in like I-brand places. If you want to stay in I-brand places, I'm telling you need to take at least 5,000 with you.
Yeah, I was thinking 5,000 in my head.
Yeah, if you want to like stay in like Island, stay in Lekki or Banana Island, 5,000. You have to have at least 5,000 with you.
Wow. Okay. All right, my next question for you. All right, so I know you mentioned something about trying different religions one time when you were younger and all sorts of that stuff, and how you said your dad said that God will always exist, or however you put it in your words. Do you want to explain that once again, like your story?
Yeah. So, growing up in Nigeria, like I said, I moved around a lot. So, my dad gave us the freedom of religion. Although there was already freedom of religion in Nigeria, but as a parent by himself, he didn't just force us to do what he wants us to do. So he gave us, choices to go to church, or to go to the mosque, or to do traditional worship, which I have a lot of things to say about traditional worship too. But I used to be a Muslim. Then, after a lot of like persuasion, I wouldn't really say research, persuasion, I was like, you know what? This 5-day praying thing is not for me. Okay? I'm too young for this. Right? So I became a Jehovah's Witness. And then I came to America as a Jehovah's Witness. I wouldn't really say while I was in Nigeria, I did Hindu, but I had like a lot of books I was reading. We had a whole library of books in my house. And those books were not really, like, novels. We had novels, too. But, like, it was mostly religious books because those are what my dad was interested in.
Yeah.
He was interested in God. And that's what he gave us. If there was anything my father, like, gave anybody or me or my brother or my sisters, he gave us God. Whenever you speak to him, he would always talk to you about God, about Jesus, why he's so good, the way we should serve God. So, growing up in that manner, you tend to want to seek out God, and you tend to want to know where he is. And that's what happened when we came to America. But yes, I did dabble into a lot of religions and a lot of denominations, a lot of non-denominations too. But one thing I was never Catholic. Like, no shade, but like, I just wasn't part of that paganism. Like, no shade. I'm so sorry. But I was never a Catholic. I was never an Anglican. Pentecostal, I would go to the church to worship there.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even... There was another church they called was it CAC? This is the church I grew up in with my grandmother. It's called Cherubim and Seraphim. I think it's mostly like a Nigerian African church.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost the same thing. Like, it was just not fulfilling. It's like this. You go to church, you pray. Like, I'm not talking about, like you're, like, casting fire down, like, basically. Like, you basically just shouted on God at this point. Mm-hmm. You're praying. And then after you finish praying, you eat. You listen to the word. Call it a day. The word is not really a word. It was just like a pastor basically just yelling a bunch of opinions at you. Literally no shade. This was literally what it was. And I wasn't even, quote unquote, an adult. I was still young. Mm-hmm. So we had children church. Children church, you actually learn something from the Bible, like Bible stories and stuff, but you're not really getting it.
Yeah.
Anything. You're just eating. So until I go home and go talk to my father, then my father teach me stuff.
Yeah.
So if I didn't have my father, I would not even be where I am today. Honestly speaking. I don't mean
shout out to your dad.
So yeah, I wanted to also talk about African tradition thing because I feel like it's a problem in our African American community right now, as we speak. Because I'm speaking from an African point of view. Am I talking too fast?
No.
Oh, okay. I was speaking from an African point of view, and a lot of my black brothers and sisters, in America, they are actually saying, "Oh, we want to go back to our ancestors and with the way our ancestors are doing, and use that to respect and honor our ancestors." Wallahi, no problem. You want to do it? No problem. You want to go ahead? No problem. The problem is, it's not about you respecting your ancestors. Now, you're doing what your ancestors did that cursed them. If you understand what I'm saying. You're doing what God doesn't like, that your ancestors started. And basically, that's why a lot of our ancestors did not grow past where they are. Mm-hmm. This traditional form of worship and, calling spirits into certain things and worshiping the water, these things are wrong. They are idol worship.
Yeah.
They are a paganism. This is what the Lord is against. So instead of our people going back to God, they're going back to the ways of their ancestors, which, as we speak, a lot of people in Africa, they are trying to get away from what their ancestors taught them. Mm-hmm. Because it's putting people in bondage, spiritual bondage. And people in America, I understand, we don't understand, we don't understand that. So what do we do? Because we're trying to get back. And the social media is not really helping us. Because they're giving us, I'm not kicking out Black Panther, but what they gave us in Black Panther is a form of African religion that is wrong. Mm-hmm. It is. Witchcraft, calling on your ancestors. First of all, they're dead. They don't have any consciousness of what is, where you are. They are dead. The dead is dead. You are alive. You should be worried about you.
Yeah.
But I really am against, I'm not saying you shouldn't respect or acknowledge what your ancestors has laid down. I'm just saying, calling on the spirits of somebody, going to some kind of medium, accept Christ, you're
yeah. So it's so interesting that you say that, though, because so many times I want to learn more about, like, African culture and African tradition and things like that, but it's so hard actually going to resources, whether it's people or social media or sites on the web or books that you read. It's hard to actually tell if you're actually being taught the right things. I had this little I guess, quirk, you could say, and, like, it was, like, a good amount of months ago when I was actually trying to learn Swahili, and I told you about this, and it's, like, so hard actually trying to find people or places, or whether it's on YouTube, to actually, like, are they actually teaching me, like, the real right words? Because I don't know, so I wouldn't know if what they're teaching me is right or wrong, and
I wouldn't say that, African language was in-depthly in paganism. That's not a thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, like, you can learn African cultures. We have other cultures that's not in-depth into paganism.
Yeah.
We have other, matter of fact, the whole point, my tribe specifically, I can't speak for other tribes because I'm not from other tribe, but I'm Yoruba, or Anago, and we are known to be very respectful.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't have anything to do with calling down spirits.
Yeah. Isn't that
Right.
language also, like, the most common language in Africa?
Yes. Yes, actually. Yoruba is actually quite common in Nigeria, in Brazil, in Portugal, but yeah, Portugal.
Wow. Because I remember one time I made this painting and it had, like, African colors and all sorts and whatnot. And somebody commented on my post trying, I guess, like, kind of attacking me in a way because I used the color red. Is the color red bad in Africa? I was so confused.
Okay, so superstition. But okay, so the colors do matter if you actually think about them. Mm-hmm. Colors are also spiritual. They are not, that's not a sense of, you need to understand the vibes and the aura certain colors bring.
Yeah.
Now, black and red, because of superstitious beliefs in certain cultures, not all Africans believe this. In certain cultures, maybe Xhosa or maybe Zulu or maybe some Ashanti, because I know my Ghanaian friend actually doesn't like red. Mm-hmm. I don't know. One of her, maybe it's just a family, and even Yorubas too, and Igbos. Igbos actually like red. But certain cultures, they don't associate with the color red. Because a lot of our ancestors have been using the color red for evil purposes. Mm-hmm. And they've been using black for evil purposes. But that do not mean those colors were, to begin with, evil. Depending on what you're using them for. If you take the color white, right, and you use it for something bad, it's not the fault of the color.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with the color. Actually, the color red actually also represents royalty. It actually represents, passion and deepness and boldness.
Yeah, that's what I was focusing on. That's exactly what I was focusing on in my painting. And for him to just go out of his way to comment on my artwork talking about that represents blood and violence, I was like, depending on what I use it for, yes, it could. But in my context and the way and what I painted, you already know that's not what I meant by my painting.
Right.
Like, it got me so tight. But that was like a year ago. So, but I was just like, let me just ask you. Because
mindset. As long as you're not painting that kind of thoughts, and people are seeing that kind of thoughts, then I don't think that's the problem.
All right, so I have your next question. Okay, so transitioning over now from talking about coming from Africa to now your passion, did you always love to do hair? And did it come naturally, or did you have some aunties that you were watching on the side while they did hair? Tell me.
This is actually very deep for me. Yo, I'm hurrying out my business. Okay, so when I was growing up, I grew up specifically with my father. Mm-hmm. I did have aunties around and my grandmother, but because I had to grow up with my father because my mom wasn't there, I ended up having to do my hair myself. Mm-hmm. And that made me develop a liking to hair. And most of the time, my father also had to do my hair for me. So, also, I had to do other people's hair. Because, when people see what you can do, they're like, oh,
yeah,
girl, lift me up.
I can relate, yep.
Right. So, I had to do, and, same thing with aunties, too. When I was younger, girls, my hair was lush. And then they cut it.
Wait, you didn't have a choice?
No, they didn't even ask me. They just, like, literally, my auntie was like, I think she was low-key jealous because she was, like, bald. But anyway, so she looked at my hair and she was like, I think it's time for you to have short hair. Who is you? And then she cut my hair. And that was traumatic for me because people don't understand the little things you do to a child can cause them to... I did not forget that. And that happened to me when I was like 4 or 5. I forgot so many things, but I did not forget that because that was my hair. That was my glory, and you just cut it off.
Yep.
And that point in time, I was like, nobody is touching my hair. And to this day, if I didn't authorize you to touch it, if I didn't ask you to touch it, I'm biting your hands off. Let's be honest. So that made me develop a liking for hair. I mean, I can tell from the texture of your hair, from the look of it, if it's healthy or not, because I've been doing it from that young, from like 6. I've been doing my hair for that long, and I've been doing other people's hair, my friends' hair. So yeah.
So did you always want to have a business for hair care, or was it something that you thought of further down the road?
When I was younger, I never thought about it. Until I came to America. When I came to America too, never thought about it. So it was something down the road. I did think about making products for myself and for my family. I made those products. Most of my recipes is something I've been doing from when I was younger.
Yep.
Or what my father is an herbalist, so he just made stuff and then put them in my mouth and my hair. Oh. So, and they worked.
So you basically like grew up with the knowledge of herbs
of hair and our herbs.
That's awesome.
So when I came to America, I was like, like maybe I should start making this product for my family, my mom and myself. So I started to make it for myself. And then, like, people would see their hair, because my mom, at first, she had locks. She still has them. She had to cut them because she was going to salons to go do her hair. I'm not saying anything about salons and anybody opening up salon shops, but if you pick the wrong salon to work on your hair will not grow or will not flourish.
I haven't gone to a salon in years. Like, I just...
Right. So I'm not saying you shouldn't go to a salon. If you do go to a salon, make sure the person that is working with your hair knows your hair, knows you, and has the right mindset. Because some people, they just want to do the hair, get some couple of bucks, and go.
Yeah.
Some people don't even like doing hair. So I started making these products for my mom. And my mom was like, yo, what are you doing? You stop putting this out there. This can actually help people. And it wasn't about, I never had it in mind to start doing this. I'm not doing this. She told me this 2016. Honestly speaking. I was like, I'm not doing this. The moms can't have a business. I want to do something else. So 2017, she kept telling me, and I was like, you know what? Okay, I had like a kind of division. So I joined the salon. I worked at a salon. That was terrible. I didn't want to go into it. That was terrible.
Yeah.
And then recently I was like, yo, I should actually put this out there. Because I started to use my products on other people. And people were like, yo, your products are they're bomb. I was like, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
So I started to put them out there. So it's not something I just thought up I'm going to start a business. It was like along the road.
That's so cool. Okay, so I know you're still in college. So basically, what was it like shifting gears from young woman in college to now young woman with a business? Was it hard? Was it a struggle? Are you still getting used to it? How is it?
Honestly, since I just started and I just launched. As a matter of fact, did I tell you, the time I was supposed to launch my business wasn't even the time I was supposed to launch. It launched earlier than I expected.
Oh, that's good then.
It launched 3 months earlier.
That is amazing.
People just actually kept ordering. So, what happened is that I am still working on it. I wouldn't say I'm perfect. There's still a lot of things that, it's a business. It's a whole journey.
Yeah.
It's not something you just jump into, and it is a big point in my life. My business is a big point in my life. Also, it's my schoolwork.
Yeah.
Because I want to do all the things too. And juggling both, people would say, oh, it's stressful, it's crazy. Actually, I'm breezing through it.
Yeah.
I'm not the kind of person that likes to stress myself.
I know you're not. That's why I tell you all the time. Like, you're always that person I need just to calm me down, because you just have that aura about you. You're not one to really stress. You're just like, okay, deep breath, calm down. So I figured, like, that's why I asked.
Literally, what you just said, I am a bit of an overanalyzer. So that deep breath thing, I had to take it. I was just like, you know what?
Yeah.
Last semester, I'm just going to say last semester, I had a lot of orders coming in, both from family and outside. Mm-hmm. And I had classes, and I wasn't there. And I had other things, because I like hanging out with my friends and family too. And it was just like, yo, we need to pause, take a deep breath, let some things go. So I had to let certain friends just tell them, like, look, I'm busy. We can't do this today.
Yeah.
Even professors. And it wasn't because I was doing anything. I just needed that mental rest.
Yeah.
It wasn't because I needed a physical rest. It was a mental... That's the thing about owning a business and going to school. Honestly, sometimes it might not even be a physical thing.
Your mind really just never gets a break. I know exactly what you're saying. It's just, even with me, like, in my art and everything, it's like, I'm never not thinking. Even when I try and go to sleep, my mind just, it doesn't shut up. Like, I know what you're talking about. Oh, my Lord.
And sometimes, with owning a business, I don't even want to talk about school and the stress. It's just, the business is like, the fears that comes with being an entrepreneur. You start realizing it. Like, the negative thoughts is like, what if my business don't go higher than this? What if people don't like my products? What if my presentation is not good? And I have to calm down from all these negative thoughts and bind them up. Like, look, because sometimes as a perfectionist, which I also had to reduce, is that as a perfectionist as myself, and I believe you are also, I want everything to be like, if it's not like this, I don't want it.
Yeah.
Like, I will pass it away. If it's not straight, if it's not like, but my dad and my mom, really, God bless them for blessing me with parents like this, and my sister, my friends, really, God bless them, and I'm really appreciative for their encouragement and their ability to just be like, yo, you are new to this. You don't even got money. What are you doing? You're in college. So my dad literally said that. My dad was like, what are you doing? You're in college. Okay, the little money you add that you saved up, you're using it to run your business. And the money you get from your business, you're using it to run your business. So why are you stressing like you have $1 million in your bank account? So after realizing this, and I read all the books, I had to read books and stuff. I was like, yeah, this is a journey. This is not something that... Because you will go on Instagram, you will see people, 19, multi-millionaire.
Yeah.
20, more. I was like, oh my gosh. And you like, look at their presentation.
It's like,
you want to be like that too, but it takes time.
We see so many people, whether it's like in person, we actually know them, or on social media or on YouTube or whatever. Right. And it's like, oh my gosh, I want that. But at the same time, when you're actually coming close to it, it's like, oh my gosh, this is actually a lot more work than I anticipated and doing.
Right.
And it's just like, I came to the point starting this year where it's like, I would rather fail knowing that I tried than fail knowing that I didn't. It's just like, if I fail, I fail. That's part of life. You can't really help that anymore.
You pick up right where you stop and keep going. And one more person that really encouraged me is Sister Tamara. I will not fail to mention her name.
Yeah.
Perfect Blends. Just seeing her just post and asking her questions, and knowing that she's somebody you can always talk to about business. It's amazing to have that sister around. And the advice she gave us that she had to, I want to remember properly.
I know what you're talking about, though. She had to, like,
balance being a wife and being a
wife, mother, job.
Exactly. And I was just like, yo, that's how you know that this is not a joke.
Yeah.
A lot of people think this is a joke. Like, I could just start a business. Yeah, you can start a business like this. But if you want it to grow, you have to do things gradually. So,
yes.
And so, I'm not going to say it's not a lot, but I'm breathing through it. Like, I thank God. Thank y'all. I really thank God. I'm not going to say this is just being, it's just flowing. No, it's not flowing. It's gradual. It's gradual, and I really thank God. I thank God for support. And there's still a lot more things for me to do. And, I'm not the kind of person that's like, I got it all. I ask for help when I need one. Mm-hmm. Even when I don't need one, if you I have something, I give it to me. I ask for help. I ask for help. I tell people to help me to do this.
It's so funny you say that, though, like, of asking of help, though, because I'm the opposite. Ever since, like, I was young, whether it's my art, my music, so many things like that concern me and what I'm creating, I've always had to teach myself. So I never really ask people for help for certain things. So it's just, I'm that type of person in the life spectrum where I don't like asking for help. But it's funny you say that, because it does come with being humble and just being like, okay, like realizing, okay, I need help. I don't, know what I'm doing, and just asking for help.
Right. And, it also helps you build your team, because, Nae, you're an artist, you're a graphic designer, you do a lot of things.
Yeah.
And you need a team. You can't do all that by yourself.
Yeah.
And, when you can, just, ask people for help. It could be the smallest thing, like organizing something. And you will not believe. Like my sister, just an example. I was setting up my website and everything like that. It's a store. And my wording, okay, I'm going to say this straight up. I don't say criticism very well. As a perfectionist, I really don't take criticism very well. I try to, but I know, like, I don't take it very well, because I'm the kind of person, well, she know about me. Like, she can't be telling me.
As an artist, for me, I've grown up with criticism all my life. So, to me, it's just, even sometimes, I'll admit, sometimes I still don't like it, depending on what people say, but I'm more used to it. Like, I guess it just depends.
No, if you're an African person, your aunties, your uncles, your dad, your mom, they will criticize you. And the fact that I still don't take criticism very well is just me being prideful. But I don't take it very well. It's not like I would react. I'm passive aggressive. I wouldn't react to me like, what are you talking about? You don't know me. Mm-hmm. But I'm just gonna be like, okay. But it's very important to take things with a grain of salt. So when I was setting up the wording for my website, how things should be, for like my custom design, because I do custom designing, and not custom design, custom order.
Custom order. Oh, okay.
Custom design is something. This is cool right here. So custom order. So I worded things really amateurly. So I was like, so my thinking, I was like, yo, this is perfect. This is amazing. This is good. My sister read it, and she was like, what are you saying?
Oh my Lord.
Understands this. And she helped me. I was like, yo, can you help me? I had to just calm down. I was like, no, it's good. It's perfect. I was like, I had to just tell myself, calm down. Let her help you. And just for her wording that for me, I am telling you, that just made everything good. And I was like, thank you. Like, really, just small things that people can help you with will make things in your life a lot easier.
It'll make the difference. So, talking from help, has there been any discouragement along the way with your idea of having a business? Was there discouragement when you found out you wanted to have a business? Is there still discouragement now, either with you mentally or from other people? Like, how is that?
The discouragement, yeah, there is a lot of discouragement. There's always going to be discouragement, but you just have to keep on, you have to be your own motivator and self-starter. That's one thing I don't, press in. I'm always a self-motivator. But one of the discouragement is, whether you like it or not, you're gonna say, "Oh, when I started this business, it's not about money. It is about money. This is economy.
Yeah.
So it is about money." So one of the discouragements was sales, because I was like, "What if people don't actually buy this thing?" And this was like a month, or actually 3 months when I launched my business. Like, what if people actually don't buy this thing? If I was going online, people would come. Because I haven't started, because I'm still in school, I haven't started, like, big marketing or anything like that. I'm still doing, face-to-face or virtual marketing. So, like, I was like, what? People would come, check your website. They will put this in their cart. Like, we do that all the time. And then when we check the overall price, we're like, nah, I don't got time for that.
Yeah.
And I know that's what customers are thinking, but there's still that innate feeling like, yo, people are not buying. Why? Like, this is a good product. But, with that, I end up, reading some books, talking to my father, who, if I tell you my father used to have a business, he used to have a business. So he helped me out a lot. So I spoke to him, and I was like, yo, Dad, why are people not buying? And it was like, you just started. That's something that I feel like I always forget, personally. Because I feel like, it's, the social media is a really great weapon for bad and for good. It could influence you negatively and positively.
Yeah.
And, when I see people on the website, and those are people close to me. No, I'm not talking about far-off people. And it's like, I want to be like that, too. I want to have so much sales. But then it's like, because it's motivating, but it's also crushing. So I had to speak to my father, and my father was like, you just started. Things gradually develop.
Yep.
And he told me when God started his people, that he didn't just, actually, he gave me a good example of Gino. He told me that when Gino first started,
it was in the basement.
Start off, boom, like big church, big temple, big. He said he started off in the basement.
Yep.
And he told me that right now I'm still in the basement of my life.
Yeah, I literally use PJ as a motivation all the time. I'm like, Naomi, you see how many years it took PJ just to get to where he is now. I'm like, and that's God's work. I was like, my little beauty business, like, I need you to just be patient.
Right. That, and sometimes maybe God really wants to test our patience.
Yeah.
And see how good we are with the small things. And, it helps me, really. It helps me to be more organized and balance myself and be able to do two things at the same time. So, yeah, that's one of my challenges is sales. My second challenge is just actually doing it. And when I mean actually doing it, it's like, okay, here is an order. Somebody wants oil because all of my products are not something that, I make immediately. I mean, not immediately, like I make it and just keep it. No, like it takes like brewing. Like this is a natural product.
Yeah. Right.
These are herbs I have to cook up. Okay, and it's a long process. Honestly speaking, it's a long process if it's only you. I don't have a team. There's not somebody that's making the oil here.
Yeah.
Somebody's not making the spray here.
I feel you. So you do everything from. Well, you have your own recipes, you make your own products, and you package everything yourself, you man your own website. It's a lot of work.
Right, it is a lot of work. And I wouldn't let my parents do it because, they're not the owner, they're not the co-owner. Yeah. They do support me, but they're not going to help me, like, make them. So I do them all by myself, from shipping to making and taking it out. And it's like, when it's actually time to do it, it's just like, oh my gosh, this work. It's a lot of work. I got so many things to do.
Yeah.
So it's like the procrastination comes. And, I got to get up and do it.
Yep.
Or else, that's bad customer. That's bad customer service.
Yeah, and it's like, it's one of those things where if you can't be loyal and you can't keep the small amount of customers that you have now, how can you expect to grow and to be bigger when you're going to have a mass, like, a bigger demand? So
one thing I would say is, like, the faster the faster I do something, the faster it brews. Because brewing alone, like especially for my rosemary daily spray, that's rosemary that I have to soak, let it let the juice come out and all that kind of stuff. So that takes like good 3 days. So
wow.
I'm not gonna do like a fast track thing. I'm not. So I like to do it in advance, right? So that alone, I always tell my customers, I email them and tell them, like, your order is still brewing, just, wait up, be patient, please. And I always tell my customers, I don't say it like that. I always tell my customers or anyone that order that. But still, it's just like, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And when I think about the work, that's a challenge for me. I'm going to do all this stuff.
I feel you. There are so many times. Yeah, there are so many times when I'll have a commission, and I'll be honest, some commissions are easier than others, but then there are sometimes, especially ones that I have to do, like, actual portrait commissions, and it's just like, oh man, all right, I'm getting off of my physical job now, and now I have to stare at my iPad or whatever it is that I'm creating my art and stuff for hours trying to finish an artwork, and it's just like thinking about how long it's going to take me is just... It takes motivation. It really does. And people constantly always like, when is it done? Like, is it almost done? I was like, calm down. Like, I will send you work in progress photos. I'll let you know. But trust me, I didn't forget about it. I am working on it. And sometimes you just have to let people know, like, yes, I didn't forget about what, my service for you is. It's just that it does take time, especially when you are taking your time to actually create a quality product, whether it's your hair care products, whether it's art, whether it's fashion, it doesn't matter. If you're really doing it from the heart with passion, it takes time.
Like that.
And it really does. It takes a lot of work.
It does. And, you just have to tell people, and I'm pretty sure people are really, do think people are not understanding. People are really understanding. It's like, okay, make sure it's good.
Yeah. That's literally what they say.
Yeah.
All right. So next question. So still talking about your business though. How did you come up with the name and the vision for your business?
That one was funny. Oh Lord, that's funny. Let me tell you a story. I have to keep moving because my leg hurt. And
no, you're fine.
My sweetheart is here. My sweetheart is my cat. Thanks. So, coming up with a name. I had so many names. Oh, Lord. I had so many names. At first, I was going to go with, Sui Generous, which means like one of a kind. There was always hair therapy, because it was therapy I was doing. I wasn't doing like products or something. I was doing, because I actually have more stuff coming with my business, but I have to get the basics solid first. So, I was like, Sui Generous, hair therapy. And, it didn't go. I was like, okay, Sui Generous, natural hair therapy. And people was like, you could do better. So it was like, I was like, okay, maybe if I sleep and then God's going to give me like a dream, He's going to brighten on the planet. That never happened. So... but my mom was like, why don't you just use your name? There is nothing wrong with your name. You're the owner, right? I was like, yeah. If I don't want to use my name, it's cliche. I wanted to, like, give some, like, nice name. Like, some out-of-the-box name, like, Brands and Novas. Like, something sweet. So my mom was like, your name is nice. It's Simi. You Simi. So I was like, okay, I still didn't want to use Simi. Because I'm just going to write it with a Y, because that's my nickname anyway. So I wrote it with a Y. That was Simi. Simi stood. And I was like, okay, what am I actually doing? What is this business about? It was natural hair therapy. So Simi's natural hair therapy. There we go. That was the name. It's not fancy. It's not cool.
But I like it though. Like, I think it fits. I think it fits really well. But it's funny that you explained the why. Because I was wondering, I was like, I know Simi's real name is with an I. But it's now funny how you explain the why.
Yeah, because actually that was my nickname. That's how I spelled my nickname. It's still Simi, just with a Y. This is like the most I was like, you know what? Let me just use.
But I
it's
like
actually good in apostrophe too. Like STEM means natural hair therapy. So there we go.
All right. So I know you touched base a little bit about, your process with making your products. You talked about brewing and all that stuff. But are there like any other steps? Like if you were to name the steps, what from getting your herbs and stuff, you don't plant them yourself, do you? Or do you get them?
That's a goal. I do want to say that. That's a very big goal for me. That's where I'm actually going. If God permits, I do want to start planting my own herbs myself, and I know I will end up doing that. But no, I don't plant them myself. I do get them from a vendor. Specific herbs I get them from a vendor, and some actually I have to get them from abroad, from Nigeria. So I tell my sister what I want, and my sister's in Nigeria, and they actually, the funny thing is they actually add them fresh over there.
Yeah.
So when they bring them here, it's a lot longer and stuff like that. But then my dad knows a lot of African people that actually sells natural stuff, and I get them from African markets here and some online. So, but the goal is eventually I will plant my own stuff.
That's really cool. So, as far as like when your product is actually done, and you're like, I'm assuming like you just like pour it into your containers and stuff like that. Do you?
Yes.
What is the process for that?
Okay. Wait. What would how do I pour it?
Like, for example, are there certain procedures that you feel like you have to do? Like, are there preservatives that you put in the products?
Oh, yes,
are there?
Yes, because they are natural. Yes, of course. And I do write them on the ingredients. Natural preservatives. Natural preservatives.
Yep.
Preservatives. So I write them on the ingredients. But I can say it. There is a procedure. First is hygiene, cleanliness. When you're working with natural products, I wear gloves. But when you're working with oil, gloves are not really gonna work. They're not really gonna, So I wash my hands, which is very important. First of all, this is COVID. You should be washing your hands.
Yeah.
But I wash my hands, and that's from the beginning. I wash my hands when making my products like numerous times, at least 5 times.
Yeah.
Like once I touch this particular thing, I wash my hands. Now, none of my products have any harsh chemicals, so thankfully I don't have to be wearing like full-on stuff.
Yeah.
This is the place where I make them to keep it clean. The equipment and utensils I use, I keep it clean because I'm working with natural products. Some of my ingredients do not need preservatives, especially the oils. They don't need preservatives. They're oils. Right, but other ones like the spray, especially the egg roll liquid serum, I do use it because I use a lot of ingredients and I do infuse because it's the oil in it, so you do need some kind of balance.
Yeah.
So the preservative I use do not have any chemicals in it. I specifically actually researched a whole list of preservatives that I could use that are natural.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to use any chemical or any kind of... Because I just didn't want to use it. Because why would I do that to people?
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, that makes sense.
Right. So onto the preservatives, onto the pouring, even the containers I use, I make sure I clean them and sanitize them before I pour the stuff in. It's just what comes with making... I believe every business owner should do this. Mm-hmm. If you're doing air products and stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
All right. So, sadly, this is my last question.
No.
We've come close to the end. So, with everything that we've talked about and all the things that you've shed light on, basically, there are so many people out there who have goals and dreams but have never had the courage or the gut or the risk to make them come to life. So, if somebody were listening onto this podcast, what is one thing that you would tell them to encourage them?
Just one thing?
Yep.
Just one?
Or however many, Simi.
Well, I'm not the one to say, in the sense of, like, I'm still new to the game of entrepreneurship and business owning. So I wouldn't say I have, like, a lot of experience in that. But for starters, I would say just go for it. Like, don't wait for... Because I feel like a lot of people, we're waiting for somebody to verify it for us, or for somebody to... I mean, if the government has to verify it, you know. But, you know, we're waiting for, like, outside validation instead of God's validation. If God is okay with it, and you are... Sometimes people outside are not the ones hindering us. It's us. So you need to just talk to yourself. Ask yourself, why is this important to other people? Why is it important to you? And in 5 years, do you think this is still going to be relevant? And if all that answers is yes, then I think you should go for it. I personally think you should go for it. And even if you're still doubtful, still let it go. Like, still do. It's like this. I'm going to use the word universe. If you do something, just do it and put it out there in the universe. Put it out there in the world. And God will bless it for you. Work with faith without work is dead. So put in the work, put in the faith, let God bless it for you. So I really think that if you have a business, or even if it might not be a business, it might be school, it might be work, it might be, you know, a resume, job interview that you're scared of, just go. Look, will it kill you? No. You're not going to die from it. So that's like the last, literally that's the last thought I have in my mind. When I'm going to do something like, can this person kill me? Well, depending on what I say. But can this person kill me?
Yeah.
No, they cannot. They cannot do anything. So why am I scared? So I just do it.
That's very educational.
That's my motivation. I hope it motivates you.
No, what you said was good. I'm really happy that I chose you for my first person for this new podcast that I'm doing. I was thinking, like, how do I want to start this podcast series off? And I'm like, Simi. Simi is my girl. I have to do Simi. So I'm really happy that we could have had this interview. And hopefully down the line I might have you on again. But, you know.
Hopefully, I would really like to come on. Maybe with a couple of more people so we can talk to.
Oh, yeah, like a group. We could definitely do that.
Yeah. Thank you so much for, you know, choosing me, because that's an honor. Like, I feel so juicy inside. Like, so, oh my God.
No problem, Simi.
Oh my Lord, this is celebrity vibes.
And that just about sips it up on this Tea Time with Nae podcast. Episode 1, she's coming to America. If you would like to get in touch with my girl Simi and her hair care brand, find and follow her on Instagram. All of her information is noted in the description box below, including a link directly to her website. Share your thoughts in the comments below of a great transition you've gone through in your life. I'll go first. You can read my pinned comment at the top of this comment section. If you enjoyed this first episode of Tea Time with Nae, make sure you're subscribed and ready to receive notifications for next week's episode 2. Educating ourselves one sip at a time. Ciao. For what is a woman? If we only focus on the ability of her bosom. And what is a man? If he can only take, but not give. Forget sugar and spice, look beyond those gray skies. I want wisdom and understanding, observation and education. Surround me with like-minded souls. All I want is to learn and wisen and grow. Push the negativity aside, just push it aside. Until it falls off that cliff where your dark thoughts are still hanging. Let us learn from one another and grow to help each other, like a succulent in a dry place when it seems there is no rain, in a world full of darkness when all you feel is pain. From the tea bag into my cup, placed it on my coaster of life, adding all the flavors of us inside, stirring our thoughts, something so divine, educating ourselves, one sip at a time.